It has to be something that is fully integrated with their design process. And the earlier you can come in, the better. And I think that is another thing that I think is a challenge, is to figure out how early in the game of the concept of this product can I be a participant in, so that I can shape it, so that I'm not just painted into a corner trying to make this giant conglomeration of parts into something good. It often doesn't work that way. So at this stage, I would, if you were thinking about deciding whether to go work for a large company or maybe a smaller one, I think it might be something to consider in terms of your own interest. Do you want to work as an independent person, or do you want to take a I can't say safe route, because if you work for a large company, there's always the possibility that you'll be laid off with you know, the first or second wave of downsizing. So there really isn't any safe place. But I think one of the things you have to do in taking stock of your values is sort of decide, do I want to be an entrepreneur? You know, is there something in that for me? I mean, maybe I don't get hired directly out of design schools. Can I still participate as a designer and develop my own products? Can I go and get some tubing and make my own chair, and maybe have the wherewithal to go out in there and sell it? That's always a possibility. There's really, even though it seems like a bad time, it could be a very good time. It could be a time where you can actually go out there and somehow make a difference. And so if I could just impart anything to you, I would say be hopeful. You know, even if the economy's lousy, rely on your own sensibilities. You've gotten this far, and you know, it's a difficult program, and it's not an easy life, but it's one that I think will sort of rely on your ability to solve problems. And at this point, I think that's where Shelley and Rob and some of your other instructors have probably made their mark. Any questions?
I have one for you. What happens when you, like, say, for example, you're working with a company and they want to design a product for them? Do you, like, in the process of designing that product for them, do you get a portion of that? I mean, or do they just take over completely and say, no, that's ours now? Or
it actually, you have to establish that relationship in the beginning. The stretcher was something that I decided to sort of gamble on. I decided if I do the design, I want to own the patent, since I solved all the problems, and you'll pay me a licensing fee and a royalty for this, if it works. And I spent probably thousands of hours designing that thing, and I wasn't going to give up, because the more hours I put into it, the more I was in the hole. And so it really, at a certain point, it had to work in order for me to recoup my losses. If I was actually working with a large company and it had gone on as long as it did, they probably would have said, forget about it. But as it is now, every 3 months I get a royalty check, and that's a good thing, because I'm not working on it. And I'll get one for as long as the thing keeps selling. So that's a good thing. That's the same with the furniture business. You get maybe a 3% royalty on every chair that's sold, which is not bad if you have a good chair. I wish I was the guy that did the Aeron chair. But a lot of my friends enjoy quite a good living, because they have, you know, 1 or 2 chairs here and there, and it all adds up. So I think working by the hour, and then some of these speculation projects are very good, but that has to be established in the beginning of that relationship, because you have no leverage once you've done it. You've already done the design, so.
Yeah.
Have you had that famous marketing problem where they try to downsize costs and change your design, and how have you deal with it?
You know, I have, and what it's even been more devastating, they just cut the project. They say, you know, we're just not going to do it. And so I walk into the building and I see prototypes of things that I thought, wow, this could have been great. And you just have to be able to walk away with it and somehow, you know, maybe hope that the economy is going to turn around, or that maybe there's some way to reshape it a little bit to take that design stuff and have it incorporate something else and still live. So, yeah, I've experienced that quite a bit. Are all of you guys ID people or graphics? All right.
I have a question. You said that you were working on the medical industry. You were doing a lot of very technical products. How did you go about understanding how, like, what kind of functions you had to have? I mean, did you have a consultant you worked with, or did you go do a lot of research on your own, or, you know, how did you see the doctors using it? I mean, I just was curious how to learn that.
Actually, one of the great things is if the company puts their faith in you, and that's where that line is where it really is helpful to work for a consultant who knows a lot more than you at first, because just to be off the street and to be invited into the operating room and to have a company invest their time and faith in you is difficult. But if you have a few things under your belt, then and a few projects that have proved that you can do something, then I've been invited to cardiac surgery and ophthalmic surgery, very very tense things where somebody's eyes being cut apart and you're standing there and you want to leave the room, but it is really a great privilege to be able to do that, and that is one of the ways that you learn how to sort of get insight into the problem. I mean, there's really no better way than to actually observe something and to take stock as that outside entity watching the people in the room doing what they do, and to see those things. I mean, I've seen some, it's amazing that they have these great ORs with cutting edge equipment, and to see a Craftsman tool chest right there with, stuff.
Adding to that question, do you work together with engineers, or do you just develop the mechanics by yourself?
I actually, about 10 years ago, I started using SolidWorks, and I think that I've got a pretty good aptitude for engineering, but I'm not a formally trained engineer. Mm-hmm. I do feel much more comfortable having an engineer take my data and to go through and make sure it fits all of their requirements. They have to go through a very strict process. There's ISO 9000 and all these different ways of qualifying and managing data just for revisions of things. And so I don't want to be involved in that. I want to be involved in the next thing. But in order, as I said before, in order for me to preserve the integrity of the design, I have to solve all the problems so that other person doesn't say, well, let's just throw all this out and start from the beginning. That's where the birth of the child has occurred, and then the raising of it, is up to the parents.